Hello, hello, and welcome to another edition of Business and Financial Raw Talk, a no holds barred forum for leaders and innovators. I am LaWanna Bradford, your host for this evening. We are about to have a treat this evening. I am so excited and delighted that Kelly Haugh will be taking the stage. She and I have been going back and forth for about 6 weeks trying to sync our schedules and make things happen. I'm back and forth on the East Coast, West Coast. She lives in Colorado, and currently I'm in Atlanta. But guess what? We made it happen. But before we get started, I'm going to give a salute to our sponsor. Oh, well, look who we have in the house. Kelly Haugh. Kelly, how's it going?
Hi. Good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for joining. I want to tell the audience a little bit about who you are. Kelly Haugh is amazing. She is a certified health and wellness coach, a stress resilience and mental wellness trainer. She is a nutritional psychology practitioner, an author, and a mental health advocate. Her life experience has impassioned her to go on a mission to help us all live the best life we can, the most well life that we can, without all the struggles. So I am just so excited and delighted to have you join me today. And this is a financial raw talk. For those of you that are joining for the first time, we get raw and we get real. And so the title of this is Let's Get Raw About Mental Health. We know in May, we talked about Mental Health Awareness Month, and that's when Kelly and I were trying to make this happen. But we have another opportunity because this month is Minority Mental Health Awareness Month. And some of you may think, what difference does it make? You know, mental health is mental health. Yes and no, because there are certain conditions and factors that are creating more debilitating outcomes for your Black and Brown communities than other communities. And we're going to talk a little bit about that, but we're going to do a deep dive in some of the amazing solutions and tips that Kelly has that we can start applying in our lives right now, I believe, to live a better, more well life. Yes, Kelly?
Yes. Sounds great. Thank you for having me. I'm really excited to be here with you.
Well, thank you. Well, Kelly, I know when we're talking about health and other things, people tend to want to skirt around the issues when it comes to some disparities, but there are just some inherent disparities there. Let's just put it out on the table, because when we deal with the truth, as Mary Ellen just said, and we come to the table, then we can shift the narrative, right?
Absolutely.
And I've noticed one thing, it doesn't matter what background you're from, what culture, what ethnicity, people aren't comfortable talking about mental health as they are talking about physical health. Do you find that in your journey, and why do you think that is?
Oh yeah, absolutely. My personal journey with mental health issues started when I was 23, so very long ago. And I had sudden onset OCD, high anxiety, and, my basic thing I was told over and over was, basically take this bowl of medication, have talk therapy. That's all there is for you. And I kept asking, isn't there something different, something better, something more? Isn't there a lot more to it than this? And at 23 and that long ago, 30 years ago, the stigma was even way worse at that point. And it was very, embarrassing. And, you felt shame that you couldn't like just control it. You couldn't just do something about it. You couldn't just, look on the bright side and things like that. And people who said things like that, of course, meant well, but, it is not that easy when you have a true condition going on. And, one thing per what you just said is, I liken it to like if you had Parkinson's and you're having a tremor, nobody's going to say, stop that tremor. But if you have anxiety or you have depression, people want to just say, stop doing that. And that doesn't work for anyone.
What you just said is very powerful. And I hope our listening audience is really leaning in. To those that are watching live on E360 TV, our host station, or on Facebook or Apple TV, Samsung TV, she just said something pretty profound. And we have to be very sensitive and guard our tongue, right? Instead of saying, just stop it. And that brings me to some of the challenges that our Black and Brown communities have. Very similar to what you said. It's like, okay, just stop it. But then we have the component of we're strong. You come from strong stock. Come on, if we can deal with slavery and everything else, right? And all the other oppressions, surely you can get over this. Or we don't air our dirty laundry. Right. So you try to figure it out for yourselves, but you're not going to go to someone. And that's the part that frightens me. I was just reading earlier in the month that 1 in 5 individuals face some sort of mental health crises.
Right.
But the challenge is of those in the Black and Brown community, they are less apt to seek help because of the stigma and the taboo around. I wouldn't even say some of the false perceptions regarding mental health, right?
Right. And like you're saying that, I get it. And people, it's different because it's, of course, unseen for me, but I'm Dutch and I'm stubborn and I'm, why don't you just, get stubborn about it and put that stuff all aside? It just doesn't work that way, And the thing is, the stigma and the whole mental health issue period is it doesn't matter. Are you Black? Are you brown? Are you white? It makes no difference. Do you have money? Are you rich? Are you broke? Where are you from? What is your education? None of that matters as far as somebody having a mental health issue and a mental health crisis. And I really I'm super out to break the whole stigma on the whole thing. And especially, my whole thing started 30 years ago and I was very young. Thankfully, it's come along, but it isn't anywhere near where it should be. And somebody having an anxiety issue shouldn't be any different than somebody with a heart issue.
Exactly. It's interesting that we have, and I don't even know where it comes from because I know my parents and it's interesting. It's like my parents talked about physical health, right? Your diet, your exercise, stay away from the junk, stay away from the sugar. Right. But we don't have conversations about that mental health exercise or balance, getting proper rest, understanding your triggers. Yeah. Most people don't realize that anxiety, insomnia, all of those can be part of this mental health crisis or can impede your overall mental wellness.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. And, I like with my book, I focused in on gut health, mental health, and the connection between gut and brain and how important that is. But just like you're saying, it's all the pieces that go together. And, if somebody's off balance this direction or somebody's off balance that direction, it makes a big difference. It's many pieces put together that end up leading to that, having a diagnosis or having a crisis go on. It's not just like one thing.
Can you imagine where we would be? So I think about physical health, right, and how physical fitness and wellness has had a huge journey just in our lifetime, right?
Right.
Starting with the Jane Fonda fitness, and now
Oh yeah.
now it's common conversation, and whether
Mhm.
it's the supplements or it's comfortable for people to talk about it,
Right.
but we're nowhere near that level of conversation and embracing what mental wellness actually is and looks like for an individual, and
Right.
going to the crises. So I want to bounce this off of
Yeah.
you. When we think about our first responders, and I'm going to just some of the incidents that we've seen
Mhm.
with some of the shootings, and then they found out that this person was under mental health duress. Can
Right.
you imagine if we had individuals like you and other professionals to go in and train and educate first responders on what signs to look for before they reacted,
Oh
right?
yeah.
To try
Definitely.
to abate the situation?
Yeah. Absolutely. It would be much better. Um, those professionals tend to be pretty tight knit and pretty closed off from the rest of us as far as things like that go. As far as the research I've done has concluded. But absolutely, if they'd be a little more open minded to some outside people coming in and talking with them and, educating them on a variety of things that, yeah, it could make a really big difference.
Well, I guess it's 2 years now. In the beginning, and I guess the peaking of the pandemic, I was just reading and noticing things, and but especially within my community and my Celebrate You Women's community. And I said, okay, I'm not a mental wellness expert, but I see a concern, I see a cry that's happening here, and so I took it upon myself to facilitate for almost 2 years a mental health wellness panel,
Which is
and we met
awesome.
every month, and we
Yeah.
ended up being picked up by Experience on Demand TV. And it was a great experience. But this is something I want to just be real transparent about, Kelly. I went in a little cocky. I was like, okay, I'm here. I remember like the very first show,
Mhm.
introduced everyone on the panel, and I said, I'm here as merely the facilitator.
Mhm.
I don't have mental health issues. I can't say I understand, can't relate, but I'm a great facilitator. So I want to create this engaging conversation.
Right.
Fast forward a few months into
Mhm.
the pandemic, right? We all have triggers, we all have a breaking point,
Oh yeah.
and we are not meant to be in isolation. We're not meant to be void of human touch.
Right.
And I remember, so from February to the first time I had physical touch with another person was May 22nd.
Wow.
And
That's
that's
long.
my birthday. And my brother had a small gathering at his home. And when he hugged me and my nieces and nephews hugged me, I broke down.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh my gosh, I'm having a crisis. And so I had to come back and share with them that because of some of the tools they were sharing on the platform, I remembered, I'm like, okay, I've got to do these little things.
Right.
And it doesn't matter whether you've been through a crisis or not, we all need to have that toolbox just in
Absolutely.
case,
Oh yeah.
right? Everyone has a first aid kit at home.
Mhm. It's very important. Absolutely. Yeah, that in my book or whether I'm working with clients, a toolbox of various things anyone can use is my favorite because everyone needs them at different times and various tools work for different jobs, right? Or different people. And, what works for one person might not work for another. But I love giving people just little tidbits of things they can use throughout their day, can really shift their mindset, shift how they're feeling, shift their nervous system so they can actually ground back down and actually get back in the body, get back in the heart and actually, feel good again and be able to think straight again instead of getting that kind of spiraling out thing going on. It's very important.
Now, you mentioned, in which really intrigued me when we first talked about the brain gut relationship. Can you
Mm-hmm.
tell us a little bit about that? Because some people don't realize that there is a correlation.
Right. Yeah, it's the gut brain connection or the gut brain axis. And, the gut speaks to the brain speaks to the gut, and they are interactive all throughout the day. And oftentimes, if your gut is out of whack, that being, if you have an unhealthy gut, if you have way too many gut bacteria that are bad going on versus the good gut bacteria, then it's sending that wrong message up to the brain. And at that point, if that's the case, dysbiosis, which is the bad gut bacteria, has taken over. That actually, it will override your own thoughts, and really trip you up. So it's really important. And I first heard of the connection between the gut and brain through a MD who turned holistic doctor way back like 14 years ago. He was way ahead of his time because the huge research and the huge, outpouring of the scientific material didn't come until many years after that. But because I have an autistic daughter who, Mary Ellen, actually ends up having seizures as well, that's how I first started learning all about gut health and the gut-brain connection. And then, as science came along, there was actually, valid science going along with this. And, you could already see that it was a big difference with various things we did with my daughter. And then the science came out to prove it. And at the time the doctor first told us, she has leaky gut, she has dysbiosis 14 years ago. No one had really heard of these things. And now, of course, everyone has heard of it, but a lot more people. If you say those things, you don't just get the big eye roll like, I don't know what you're talking about. Some people have at least heard about that. And that whole connection is just really huge. And having that, good gut health really helps the brain, helps your mentality, helps your mood, helps your mindset.
I believe it was Hippocrates that made that relationship about that health first starts in the gut. And so for someone who's listening to this saying, yes, Kelly, I've heard of this, but how do I know if I have leaky gut? Or if I have the an excess of bad bacteria? How can someone find out about that?
Your telltale signs are one would be, do you have an anxiety or depression or things like that? Likely you have some type of gut issue going on. But if you have diarrhea, if you have if you have constipation, if you have a lot of acid reflux going on, cramping and bloating going on, if you have brain fog, you can't think, you can't focus, you can't concentrate. All those things are an indicator you might have leaky gut.
So if someone has leaky gut and they come to you, are you the one who helps them with that, or do they go to their MD who helps them, and then you take and you add the holistic component to that?
I do a holistic approach as a health coach, and I work with people on, a variety of things, and including, if somebody has leaky gut, they definitely need to give up gluten, drop down on sugar. Most people dairy as well, those types of things to heal the gut. That's definitely something I can help people with. I have been dealing with, gluten-free cooking, etc. for 14 years now because of my daughter. She can't have gluten, dairy, corn, soy. And 14 years ago, there wasn't much for replacements of any of that. There's all kinds of things now, but I could definitely help people with that. Also, it's stress. Stress is huge for gut issues, period, and leaky gut and things like that going on. So I'm super into helping people with chronic stress, they just feel always stressed. They're always stressed. They're always overwhelmed. And then that could make them feel anxious or depressed, either one, or oftentimes both. But I'm really good at helping people reduce their stress levels. No, I can't change your situation, but I can help you deal with it much better.
One of the things that concern people when you talk about dietary choices, and I've heard people say, well, it costs too much to eat healthy.
Mm,
or it's hard to find healthy food. So now going back into your Black and brown communities where certain, maybe there isn't a Whole Foods or there isn't a farmer's market nearby,
mhm.
and they have to travel,
Right.
you know what I would consider an unreasonable distance. If you have to go out of your community to go to
Oh,
another
sure.
community to get healthy food, that's an
Right.
issue. But that being said, you mentioned some key things that we can do as far
I
as
yeah,
elimination, right?
I hear you. So in this chapter, I'll just hold it up really quick because you won't be able to see it great, I know. But it is this chapter in my book, and it's called Food, Mood, and Your Gut. And some key things I talk about in here are, and this is what I do with clients, regardless if they do or don't have money, it doesn't matter. Let's first get rid of the blatantly horrible things for you. Food dyes, red and blue food coloring, neurotoxins, food fit for a soldier, I call it. And that's full of preservatives, full of nitrates, full of, all kinds of things that are so bad for you.
So
Food's
get rid
only
of the bacon, right?
right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, first let's eliminate the blatantly terrible things, and whether I work with a client that, they can't afford healthy food or not, even if we're cutting down on those things that are just blatantly bad for you, that's going to help. And then even Walmart anymore has organic food in the produce area. The very interesting thing in the pandemic was everyone's freaking out about, of course, the toilet paper. But besides that was, oh, we aren't going to have enough food. And when you went into any store and you saw what food was gone, all the pop was gone, all the chips were gone, all the bunch of crappy food was gone. And then in most all stores, produce was full, which is amazing. And that didn't matter if you were at a regular grocery store, if you were at Walmart or Whole Foods. And so I get it. A lot of people have that initial argument of, I can't afford to eat healthy. But when I go to certain places like Sprouts or Farmers Market, Vitamin Cottage, places like that are, Whole Foods, yeah, it is expensive. Whole Paycheck, Whole Foods, yes, for sure. But there are other places, and including Walmart, where you can get in there and get some actual healthy produce to eat. So I understand it may be more expensive than Kraft macaroni and cheese or something, but there are plenty of healthy options. Like if somebody said to me, well, I really want to eat healthy, but I can't afford it, I would totally go through, what do you usually eat now? Let's work on, what would you like to eat? And how could we, start working you that way? And my whole philosophy is that way. Healthy eating, 80-20, yeah, you don't have to eat healthy 100% of the time. You can be on that 80-20 continuum. Some days you might be 70-30. That's okay. I mean, it just depends. But if you start taking out the really bad stuff, start adding in some good things. Once you start doing that, now your taste buds aren't craving that fake food stuff, and you're adding in some of that healthy, good stuff for you. And they start to change, and you're actually like craving a salad or craving a bell pepper or something, makes a really big difference. So slowly taking out the bad, slowly adding in the good. And again, if you can shop carefully, there's definitely healthier things people can be eating.
Oh, right. And I like the example that you gave. And so starting first with elimination, knowing what things are bad, and beginning to make the right choices instead of going and buying, a bag of chips or a case of soda. Let's see what I can substitute that for. So if we start making wise substitutions,
Right.
what we thought would be unreasonable and unaffordable becomes more affordable because we're not putting the good on top of all the bad junk we're purchasing, right? We've eliminated that. When I was listening to you talk about, the chemicals and preservatives, I love popcorn. Mm-hmm. And when I decided to stop buying the microwavable popcorn,
Right.
I remember going to a friend's house. I hadn't had microwave popcorn in a couple years, and they had some popcorn, and I thought, I don't do microwave because of all the chemicals, but I thought, it's okay. So
Right.
I
You're
just
like,
got a
ah,
little bit,
yeah.
and when I put it in my mouth, I could taste the chemicals.
Yeah.
I could
Yeah.
taste it. I thought,
Right.
oh my goodness. And before I had been desensitized to it, I'm just devouring bags of
Absolutely.
microwave popcorn. But when you separate yourself from it for a while, like you said, you begin to crave, your body
Right.
craves what's good for it. And
Absolutely.
things like if you were hooked on sugar, now you take a drink of that soft drink, and suddenly it tastes so sweet. It's
Right.
just
Like sickeningly sweet, where you're like,
yeah,
oh no, this doesn't even taste good anymore. Yeah.
exactly.
You can have a couple sips and that's it. Right.
Well,
Sorry, my cord is messing with
we
me.
are almost out of time, and what I want to do is give you 5 minutes to speak directly to the audience. I like any tips, advice that you want to give, whatever you're led to share. If you have any offers, any way people can connect with you, and I'll make sure that I put that in the chat. But I want to take myself down and then just allow you to have the platform. And before I do so, I just want individuals to know that this show is for infotainment purposes. It is not meant to diagnose or treat any mental health concerns. If you do have them, please see your professionals. If you're in crises, contact NAMI.org or the Suicide Prevention Hotline at 800-273-8355. And I
Absolutely.
am going to let you take it away.
Okay, great. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Sorry, I'm having a little power cord issue here. Sorry about that. So yeah, if you're anybody who struggles with mental health issues, and it doesn't even have to be a diagnosed mental health issue. I don't mean that by that. Chronic stress. You feel anxious a lot. You feel depressed. You feel down. Anything like that. This book is definitely very helpful for you. And it's all about the gut-brain connection, helping you with mental wellness, helping you with stress resilience. Stress resilience being so you bend, but you don't break. And I know so many people, especially, so many people, period, but then after the pandemic and during the pandemic and just more and more stressed. Everyone was just more and more stressed. And I was already helping people and passionate to help people with that chronic stress piece. But it has just gotten worse. And then with the economy and everything going on, people don't know where to go or where to turn. I don't want anyone to feel hopeless. I don't want anyone to feel helpless. Like LaWanna said, though, if you are in a desperate spot, I urge you to call the Suicide Prevention Hotline. Absolutely. Sadly, we recently had a family member who ended up committing suicide. I won't name names or tell anything about that, just to protect everyone. But it's a really sad thing, and it's not just sad for the person themselves, but it's sad for the entire family and everyone who wants to know, well, why and what could I have done and all those types of things. And I just don't want to see anyone else go through this. I was already passionate and when working on this, but just telling you, it's devastating. So the time to get help is as soon as you are feeling this, as soon as you're feeling overwhelmed, as soon as you're feeling helpless, hopeless, things aren't going to change. You can't change anything. Things can't get better. That is the time to get help. Okay. Because especially like with the chronic stress and the overwhelm and things like that, that can totally lead to an anxiety disorder, a depression disorder, things like that. And you don't want to wait till it's too late. There's no reason to do that. And there is no shame. And I speak out about this and I make posts about this. I had OCD for a very long time and struggled a lot. Anxiety, much medication, many things. But what really, really helped was getting my gut health in order and using a holistic approach. And I really hope that you will do that as well. So today, what I am offering, if you will, is a copy of my book along with a laser coaching session with me So there's no further obligation past this, but what it is to help you, it's a 20-minute session to help you gain insights onto what's going on with you and things you could possibly change to make things better for you, things you may not know about, things the mainstream medical field isn't talking about, things like that. So we see, where are you now? Where do you want to get? And how can we get you there? And, whether we work further or not, you'll come away with some great tidbits that you can use in your daily life.
I love it. What a generous offer. So Kelly Haugh's information is below. You can contact her on Facebook and Instagram at Kelly Haugh Gut Coach. Her book, Mind Your Gut, is her free offer for you today, along with a 20-minute coaching session. How amazing is that? What a blessing. So to the listening audience, if you're wondering, well, how do I get started? I have questions. I don't know what to do. Here's an opportunity that's knocking at your door.
Yep.
But you have to open it and allow Kelly to come in, right?
Yep, absolutely.
Well, Kelly, thank you so very much for being my special guest on this show. Definitely want to connect with you a little bit more and just talk about how we can help you to further platform your message and give so many people around the world hope and realize that we don't have to rely on being medicated, but can take control through holistic healing practices, great food choices to help align our gut, align our minds to live the best, most vibrant life possible. Yes?
Yes, you got it.
Well, thank you so much. And I'll talk to you soon.
I appreciate it. Thanks.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
How amazing was that? I told you this was going to be a packed evening. It's Kelly Haugh coming and just packing the house with tips, solutions, a little bit of her story about how you can realign your gut and your mind to live a vibrant, healthy life. It is possible. So get out of your way if you're dealing with any issues, any of those symptoms that she talked about. Reach out to her, reach out to your medical practitioner, but also if you're having a feeling of being in medical crises, please, 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 I'm going to put this down here one more time. Reach out to NAMI.org or go to the Support Suicide Prevention Hotline at 800-273-8355. And now I have another special guest before we close out. And you all recognize this beautiful woman here. Miss Terry Lynn Phillips is in the house. Terry Lynn, how's it going?
You're so happy to be here. You're looking absolutely fabulous today, Miss LaWanna.
Thank you.
Fabulous. And your last guest, she was wonderful. Oh my goodness. All the information, all of the health. Oh, yes. Get the book, get yourself together, because you have to lead a successful life.
Yes. We only have one life to live. I mean, we hear that. It sounds like a cliche, but it's true.
One life to live.
Well, let's get into why you were here. This time you're a guest for a different reason. Yeah, you are that angel. And I know, Terry Lynn, you and I talked about how many, and we're going to talk specifically about women in business. They're trying so desperately to hold on to the dollar, right? It's like, I can do it all. And if you would let go of a few of the cents from every dollar earned and invest in someone's business like a Terry Lynn, so that SWF, Success with Fortitude, can come in and help gird you up so that you can do what you do well, working on your business and not so much in it, then the success that you want is going to come that much faster, right?
Oh, and absolutely. When you invest in doing things like going to your conference, the boundaries that you cross about people in people's lives, the boundaries, the information, the experts, it's just the education and the camaraderie and the communication that you get for just such a little bit of a investment in yourself. So yes, you have to invest in yourself so that you can invest in your business, so that you can invest in your life. Yes, definitely.
Yes. I think that is so powerful. So to our listening audience, if you don't walk away with anything from what this woman said, investing in yourself, investing in your life, living the life of your dreams can be possible, but it does take some commitment, some buy-in to that dream, number one, and then investing in that dream, number two, and number three, partnering. Because I see Terry Lynn, if he's working with you, she's your partner. Partner with someone like her business to help you expand and grow and reach more and more people, create more impact, influence, and income. And that brings us back to the conference. Why did you, when you saw this, and I know it's important for you because you're just an eternal student, always expanding, always growing. But why did you say, you know what, I've got to get my ticket for this one?
Celebrate you. Just the title alone gives you permission to be your best you, to value yourself, to love yourself, to impact yourself. And when you do an event and you get so many people together that help you do that, oh, I wouldn't miss it. There's no way. I rearranged my whole schedule. I would miss it. You have to. I mean, if you, first of all, if you're not a part of Celebrate You community, you need to go now and join and get in there. Second off, I mean, there is always something going on. And they're always bringing the best, the brightest, the craziest people to the forefront that risk and push and work hard to serve their community. And it's an honor just to be a part of it. So yeah, I had to have my ticket and I gotta go.
Well, yeah. just to give people a little history, Celebrate You. So, you know, you can find us on Facebook, Celebrate You, Women Embracing Wellness. But I always tell people we are more than a Facebook group. We were started outside of Facebook. Terry Lynn and I didn't connect on social media. It was face to face. And that's what I love about what we're doing. I mean, the virtual platform has allowed us to expand and reach, but we truly believe in getting back to basics in that heart to heart, face to face communication, picking up the phone and lifting up one another, asking for help if we need it. Supporting where we can. That's really the essence of Celebrate You.
Yeah. So yeah, I love this community. I mean, I have very few communities that span the whole diverse parameters of women. You know, you all are always honoring people, always bringing people into the light that we don't know. We don't know anything about these people. And you're like, wow, I need that person in my life. You all celebrate. You all are always celebrating.
We got to find a way to get our party on, right?
Always. Come on with the music. Go on with the music. Always celebrating. You know, I'm a part now, you know, 40 years of business. I'm a part of a lot of organizations, a whole lot of organizations. I get a lot of great information from them, but I do not get the message to celebrate myself. I always get the message, work hard, serve your community, you know, you're worthy, but I do not get the message of celebrate me.
Wow.
And in everything you all do, you all remind us to celebrate ourselves. Yeah.
You know, there is, I'm not going to mention the name of the speaker, one of our speakers, we were talking and she was telling us a little bit about what her topic was going to be. And then she asked me a question. She said, is it okay if I be my authentic self on stage? And she's a renowned speaker. And I said, I wouldn't expect anything less. She said, well, I didn't know if it would be acceptable to even bring up my faith because I'm normally told separate that piece from business. I said, this is an empowerment conference. And I said, you need to own who you are enough that sometimes you need to walk away. If someone's telling you you have to fall into a bucket, that's probably not the stage for you.
Right. That is not your tribe, baby. That's not your tribe. You need a tribe that is going to love you, know you, and celebrate you for you. So be a part of Celebrate You.
Yes. Well, we are almost out of time. I want to put your contact information here. What's the best way for people to contact you and find out a little bit more about SWF?
They can contact me at my new speaking website, Diva Terry Lynn Phillips Speaks.com. And there you can find a free resource that will help you with what you should have in your CRM. You'll be able to join the masterclass that happens every Wednesday morning at 9:30. And you will be able to contact me. Just press contact me and book just for a chat.
Sounds good. Well, Terry Lynn, we're almost out of time. I can't believe it. You are a brilliant mind. You are a brilliant resource. And I just love being around your energy and your wisdom.
I appreciate that. But I want you to come and have fun too, because we have fun.
Of course, we got to have fun. It's all about celebrating, right?
Thank you so much, LaWanna. It's always a great pleasure to chit chat.
Well, thank you. And to our listening audience, thank you for joining us for another edition of Business and Financial Raw Talk, where we had Ms. Kelly Haugh and closing with the amazing Terry Lynn Phillips joining me here today, reminding us about living in our truth, taking care of our health, celebrating ourselves, aligning and collaborating with people such as Terry Lynn, who can help us get to that next level that much faster. And just remember, in life and in business, align your vision with opportunity. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching, success is inevitable. Until next time, be safe, everyone. Bye-bye.